Want to make a quick video. Had a lot of questions submitted in the last few weeks going in, and how do we create a cadence going into this new season to track our daily numbers to know if we're actually making money or not, and how do we actually go in and find out what crews are actually going in and making us money and which ones are actually bleeding us dry. Well, uh, hopefully the answer and what I'm going to show you here in the next few minutes is actually a pretty simple solution. So main things we're going to be talking about in this video is how to track your daily versus actual budgeted numbers per crew for success and a company overview. And then if we haven't done it going into the new season, how do we raise the prices with the increased material costs and inflation that's going on? So um, we're going to go into Service Autopilot and actually take a look at how you can look at this. And if you're not using Service Autopilot, but another CRM, this is going to be the same daily cadence that I recommend you take a look at. So without any further delay, I'm going to pop this open and answer this pre-submitted question here. So what we've got here is some data here, actually historically back from my company back in 2018, just obviously keep some anonymity of the pricing in that. But what we've got here is the thing that we call the closeout day screen. And now this should be happening in every business on a daily basis, in my opinion. So we're going in and we're going to our resource here, and we're going through our cleanup crews, we're going through our fertilization and traditional crews, our maintenance crews, our mowing crews, and all the other crews that we have. Now, once we're going to do each crew, this should be a 2 to 3 minute cadence, and we want to go in and look at particular data. And I'm going to show you how to actually break this down. But the first thing is good data in, good data out. So a lot of times that we see in other people's software that we log into as an advisor is that there really is no data in, so there's no data out. So obviously you need good data in for good data out, but to begin with, we need some data. So what we're looking at here is we'd have the client's name, the service, the last service date, and what we're going in is looking at just for everything for mowing crew number 1. Now this was a commercial mowing crew, a 2-man crew, just to give you some background on this. So back in 2018, this is what we were running on this crew. So what we've got is a start and stop time here that makes sense, and none of them are less than a minute. So if you were clocking in at say like 9:09 and the clock out was 9:09, obviously that's bad data. The crew's showing up on their phone, got the job going, and they got back to the truck and they were like, oh crap, we forgot to clock in. So we clock in and clock out to get to the next job. So the first thing on a daily basis, whether it's you, the business owner, or the manager, or admin in the office, or even a virtual assistant, we need to go through this cadence. And I highly recommend, even if it's yourself, that this needs to be reported out on a daily basis. So in my company, I get an email every day from the admin looking at the top 3 things that drive that position to those quarterly objectives and the yearly goals. In that admin position, as you're starting to build them out, a lot of people are starting to hire a virtual assistant or an in-house admin or a combination of both. This is what I'm suggesting that they do. And if you don't have that person, you got to do this for yourself for accountability. First thing we're checking is start and stop times. Does all of that look good? Now, if it does not look good, we need to make a note, report that out, and then the following morning, somebody should be at that shop or office, depending on if it's lawn care, home cleaning, and going to that crew leader and saying, hey, is this correct? And it doesn't appear to be correct. And what's the proper data? So within a week and a half to 2 weeks of the business owner or manager getting on them, will ensure good data and will break those bad habits. And at that point, we're coaching up, we're coaching out. Even with the tough labor market here, we need to have this data and we need to have accountability and ownership of it. So we got good start and stop times, clocking in out of the mobile app, depending on your software. Next thing is we need budgeted hours. So if you're watching this in the beginning of the year and your budgeted hours have not been updated, if you went from say $55 an hour to $60 an hour, we want to dial into that specific service, hit that gear icon to the far right in SA, and edit and override budgeted hours and update those budget hours. So we're driving our hourly goals on all our existing clients, and we should be updating our pricing matrices moving forward from now to the rest of the season, whatever that looks like. So we got good budgeted time. But we need a budgeted time no matter what. If you're doing contractor installments, you still need the budgeted time for that part of the contract. And in addition, we need to have a dollar amount. So in this test account, or in this account here, for some reason, this would be an issue. So we actually need to go in and know what was the dollar amount of that job. Otherwise, we don't have good data in. So I'm kind of glad we caught this back in 2018. This would have been tackled right in that daily cadence. So we've got good times, budgeted time, and amount. Now, what we want to do in addition is go into the columns and we want to add in variance and we want to add in actual hours. Now that's going to give us a different look at what's going on. So we've billed out minus the one that should be here with a price about $1,000, probably around 1,100 if we actually had that price in there. And we have budgeted hours of 21.59. They've clocked in and out of these jobs at 5.4 times the 2 guys gives us an actual time of 11.32. So looking at that, you would think that is a great actual versus budgeted. They're almost 50% on their budget, but that's really not painting the full picture. So you can go in and automate these, and then I'm going to show you what the actual thing looks like on this example. So the idea is we want to go in and have somebody physically 2 to 3 minutes a day double check this, or run an automated report. And this is what this automated report can actually look like. So this automated report here, once this loads, is going to give us an idea of our daily and weekly reports. So we've got Chad's crew and we've got our home cleaning crew, lawn care and home clean, 2 different examples. But what it's doing is it's taking the service, just like we had on the dispatch board, the clock in and clock out time here for all the jobs. And what it's doing is saying is if it's more than a minute and there's not an obvious data point of entering in through the mobile app, then we are saying the data is okay. We're confirming the clocked time and the billable hours. So the billable hours is good. And we've got budgeted hours in here and we have a job amount. Now, if any of these were missing, the cell would be highlighted in red and that admin or yourself would be alerted to go into Service Autopilot and update the price, budgeted time, or clock in and clock out. And what we've got here is a percentage of budgeted time. So this is at 125%. So this actually, they're 25% under budget. I'm going to show you in an Excel sheet how to simply understand these numbers. But the idea is we want to be able to tell the crew that if you gave 100%, you did your job. If you gave 120%, you did more than you needed to do with the quality standard. If you only got 80%, you actually are 20% over budget. So we're trying to simplify that communication. But these are the daily things that I really recommend any service business should be checking budget versus actual with good data in for budgeted time, price, and clock in, clock out. Now, in addition, we're going to want to go in and raise our prices, especially this year. But the idea is we don't want to raise the prices on everybody if we don't have to. Now, if you're doing fertilization and weed control, and those material costs have gone up 30, 40% this year, you may have to do a wholesale increase as that percentage for the material cost. But if you have a maintenance service like lawn mowing or bush trimming, you may have some people that are making more than your goal. So if your goal is, let's say in this example, desired dollar per hour is $55 per man hour, and we're making 70 or 80. We don't need to raise the price. We just need to raise the price on the jobs that are losing. So I talked about on the earlier screen here, check the data here. So check the actual hours, check the revenue per hour. Right here, we're missing a data point, no start and stop time. So you cannot make a good decision on it unless you have the data. So the automated report here that we're suggesting is a tool to check that data so a person doesn't have to physically sweep through that dispatch board and close out day screen every day. I do recommend the manual process so in the beginning so you feel the wins and losses. But the idea is on this top one here, they didn't hit our hourly wage goal on average, so we had to raise $5 per visit. And then this one here says 1,200. It's bad data, so we can't trust it because it's in red. But this one here needed to be raised $12.90 per visit in this test account. And this one had an average raise from 125 a cut, $0 because we were hitting that $55 per goal. So as you go in, whether you're using a SimpleGrowth automated report like this or building your own custom analysis into a report, is we really want to be able to go in and say, what's our desired dollar per man hour goal? What are we hitting? And what's the net effect? Does that price need to go up or does it stay the same? Now that may look confusing because it does to me at first. So we're looking at the automated daily and weekly reports. So you get this each day as the business owner, so you can see what crew's winning and losing. And then the following Monday, you get a summary of all the crews and how we did as a whole. And then I'm recommending in July and right around this time right now, before the season ramps up again, we have a really clean, non-emotional look, and it's a database decision to raise those prices on the accounts that are not meeting our hourly goal. And if we need to raise it as a whole sale percentage based on material cost or inflation, that's a different story. But this is particular to that. Now, in that report, this is really what's happening. So kind of really dial in and highlight where you could be making some big wins and losses, and an expert tip how to track your labor burden. So you can look at whether it's direct labor costs on site per crew with the people on it that day, or is it really a non-billable problem where you're having issues where your crew members are making bad decisions, or maybe you have a route density or a routing issue. So this is the different areas we want to look at. So what we're going to do is look at that dispatch board here. We've got budgeted hours of 21.59. So what we're doing here is going in, and this is what the automated report does. But I'm going to go in here on this sheet here and put 21.59 hours, okay? And we're going to go in and put our start time at the shop of 7 a.m. And I'm going to put this in here at 5 p.m. So that's a total of 10 hours here. And let's say the guys and girls had a half-hour lunch. And we had 2 people on the crew. So what happens here is the sheet is telling us we've got a total of gross hours of 20 hours. We got a half-hour lunch times 2 people is an hour. So our payroll liability right now is 19 hours of payroll. So we've budgeted 21.59. So that crew technically isn't on the dispatch board crushing it as 11.32 hours and actual in a budget of 21.59. That automated report now is starting to calculate some of this stuff. And I recommend the manual version in the beginning just so you can feel the wins and losses. But I'm actually 2.59 hours under budget. Now that's that 113%. So as I go say, hey, you guys did 113% today. Obviously, they're going to realize that's better than 100. They did good. So they're technically 13% under budget. And we want to tie in that quality constraint. Now, conversely, if I had given them 18 budgeted hours and they still did it in 19, they're 1 hour under budget. So now I can say, hey, you guys only gave 94% with a quality standard. So now we have an apples to apples comparison based on 5 or 6 hours of budgeted time or 100 hours of budgeted time. So now it's a comparison equal to everybody in the team. And when we implement this, we don't want to do it based on the actual hours. We want to do it as a percentage because we're going to create animosity amongst the crews. So we're going to have too many hours, not enough in their opinion. We don't want to get into that. And if we did give them 19 and they nailed it right on the button with quality, it's 100%. So that's now a benchmark. As we scroll to the right, we've got all our different crews. We find out who's winning, who's losing, just getting by. And then we have on the left a total company overview. So once again, that's what this report here is tackling that we talked about behind the scenes. And then we want to go in and raise the prices on just the losers. So in the manual version of this, we're going to go in and take a quick look at this. So we've got his 2 jobs here. Actual revenue is pulled right off the dispatch board or closeout day screen. This is our revenue goal, and the actual revenue is $54.28 and $60.31. So on average, we're generating $57.30 per individual on the site only. And this is our target variance. So once again, it's still pulling that data of variance here right off of SA. So that's why it's really important to have that good data in so we have good data out. Now, in the manual version, it's going to give us a target under and over for per man hour. And then if we had information in SA, it would pull the labor cost and drive time cost effect. So a lot of people, where does that pull from? So this is another quick pro tip I'm going to give you. So under an employee payroll job costing, we want it set to hourly, and we want to put their hourly rate in. So if this individual is making 20 bucks an hour here, costing information is not 20 bucks an hour. We would go into a sheet like we have here where we're tracking our average wage per division, and we're calculating our average wage, overtime, and total hours budgeted for the budget. But the main thing here is our labor burden calculation, company FICA, unemployment, workers' comp, so on. But if this was at 19%, we would put the $20 the employee was making, and at $23.80 and $35.70 are the 2 numbers we need, regular with burden and burden with overtime. So the 23 and the 35 right to the penny here would be the numbers we want. I'm just rounding them up right now for this example. You want dollar and cents in there. This information right here is labor with labor burden, and that's what is driving your labor cost effect per employee on the job for that particular day and time, and the drive time cost effect or non-billable time. So now we can look at it if we are hitting our budgeted time on the jobs, but our net bottom profit is still lacking. The place I'm going in to look first is my drive time cost effect. Is the crew making uneducated decisions and costing us money, or is it really a route density and scheduling issue from the office they can't control? So those are 2 data points we really want. Now, if we're making 57.30 on average here and our goal is 55, the sheet is kicking out and saying we do not have to raise the price. Very similar to our one here that did not have to be raised on this example. Now, if we go in and say, our goal is $60 an hour, it's going to go in and say you need to raise your price by $2.56. And this would be an automated version of that to simplify this so there's no manual process in your business. Main thing, though, folks, that we really need to do is go in and drive good data and good cadence. Each day we need to be reporting this out daily. Each Monday we need to review the week in past, and we need to pull our teams in with a quality standard, start and stop times that make sense here, budgeted times, and a dollar amount for each job, even if they're installments. So comments or questions, drop them below. Want to answer this on Callahan's Corner. You ask the questions, we answer them live right here on Facebook. Hopefully this will start to set your cadence in going to the brand new season and give you some stability and some clarity of what it looks like going into Q1 and all the other quarters throughout the year this year. We'll see you again tomorrow on Callahan's Corner.